You know, there's a reason that the acronym is Found on Road Dead. What's up, Drivetrain? Today we are in the shop. We're going to be working on a vehicle that I really can't recommend. I've got too many friends that drive these things, and they, you know, there's a reason that the acronym is Found on Road Dead. Anyway, so my buddy texted me late last night, and he said, if you read this, is kind of funny. He said, "Can you check my brake?" But the way he spelled it was just comical, and so I replied, you know, brake like on your car or brake like a bone. Remember, man, I'm not a doctor. Anyway, kind of silly, kind of funny. But I want to take you in this F-150. He was saying he drove from like the grocery store 2 blocks down, and his front right wheel is just smoking. So we're not really sure if it's a busted caliper, like a locked up caliper, a brake hose, maybe ABS, maybe master cylinder. We're not quite sure. So I'm going to show you what I did late last night, and then what I'm going to take a look at today based on what I found out last night. So let's dive right in. So I did stop by Harbor Freight a couple weeks back and picked up these tools that we're going to be using in the shop today. I got a brand new Earthquake impact gun, and then we've also got some Daytona 3-ton jack stands to replace the ones that I had bought there a while back that got called back on a recall due to safety issues. So we're going to put these to the test today. I'm going to need all the Torx in this to get the lug nuts off, because last night when I got to the vehicle, I put all of my weight on my breaker bar on these lug nuts, and 2 of them moved. The rest of them are just on there super tight, because this rotor got super hot with him driving it just even a little bit. Anyway, so I've got to use all the torque I can get from the air compressor to get this thing off. I'm going to spray a little free on here too, just to see if I can, you know, rustle them loose. I might even try the whole tighten them a little bit before you loosen them and try and break the seal. Anyway, we're going to try and get this thing off. But if you can see back here, you might see a little bit of what I have done. Yeah, that's not a normal suspension part. That's not the factory option from Ford. That's a vice grip. So I got down there last night and jacked the car up on this one side. I tried to spin the wheel, it would not spin. It was locked up tight. So I broke the bleeder valve loose, drained a little bit of fluid. There was very little fluid that came out of it, but that was enough to get it loosened up to spin and not have much drag. Then I wanted to see if it was the brake hose or not, and I loosened up the brake hose, and some fluid came out, and then I loosened it all the way out, just took the hose out, and it kind of stopped dripping after a while. So I think once all the fluid from the caliper and that was in the hose came out, that was it. I should have had a steady leak out there. So my guess is that the brake hose is collapsed. It's just dead. It needs to be replaced. That's a good thing, because it's only like a $20, $25 part. And so that is easy on the wallet compared to a master cylinder or a caliper. So the quick solution for this was to drain the fluid out, get the wheel to spin freely, and then vice grip on that hose so that fluid doesn't go out, and relock the caliper up. We need this thing to spin freely, and we drove on a road that is 30 mile per hour at max speed, and so we felt comfortable. It was nighttime. I followed him home, and he feathered his brakes just, you know, when he needed to. But we still had the back brakes, and the front left was working fine. And this vice grip just kept the fluid from coming back into this caliper, so that this wheel did not lock up again. So as I sit here and contemplate why people buy a Ford, I know brakes are common on every vehicle. I just like to joke on Fords. I am definitely more a Chevy guy at heart. Anyway, so plan of action, try and get this wheel off with anything I can, and then we're going to jack the car up, take the wheel off. We're going to pull that brake hose. We are going to pull the caliper off and inspect the caliper, make sure that the you know, the little slider deal, hickey things that are on there have some grease and some lubrication so that they actually slide and move and don't lock up. We want to make sure that that's not an issue as well. So we're going to check the caliper, definitely going to replace the brake hose, and see how this day ends. So we only got one off, so we're going to do the right thing. and spray some Freon here. Give it a little dab in there. There we go. Whew, that stuff smells rich. Wow. So while that soaks in, I'm gonna give it about 4 minutes. We're gonna take my son's calculator that he brought to me with some battery acid in the battery location, which means it did not work. I'm gonna scrape some battery acid out. I'll catch you in a second.
A few moments later.
All right, so again, now that we've got that calculator fixed, we're gonna open this guy up, get the thing threaded into the deal, and get the air compressor fired up. Ooh, it comes with its own lube. Wow, look at that. Oh, and a fancy case. Wow. Well, they really brought the heat here. Let's see what we got. Earthquake. We got the old triple selector back here. There's no 11, so I'm not quite sure how to do it. Got your forward and your reverse. This is going to be a nice unit to add. Hopefully we can get all the torques on these lug nuts and pull it off. Anything else in here? Ooh, instruction booklet. So this should be quite an upgrade here from the Central Pneumatic on the right to the Earthquake XT on the left. Yeah, the one on the right did basic stuff, kind of okay. You know, it made the appropriate noises, but I think the Earthquake's going to be the ticket. Let's put it to work. As I sit here contemplating my friendships and my agreements, the good news is I got the impact gun put together, and I sprayed the free on the lug nuts. And the even better part is the one lug nut that already was loose is loose again. The other ones, no go. I even took the long handle off my jack and stuck it on as extra leverage, and I couldn't get the other ones to budge. So now I got to think about limping this to maybe like a tire shop and just see if they can bust them loose, and then come back and maybe try and do the work. But I don't know. I'll see what I come up with. And Ford log number 21. We're back in the same spot that we were a few hours ago. Had an opportunity to traverse down the street to the Emerald Tire, the local used tire shop, and they did the vzz on the wheel, so they got the lugs loosened. So now I've got some hope, and I picked up the brake hose apart. So I'm hoping that in the next 20 minutes I can have this thing up and back down, and brakes working again. So let's see how this goes this time. All right, so if we come up on in here, we can see the vice grip fix, a little repair here to keep fluid from going down this brake hose. We did zip tie it, so that is secure and safe. It's out of the way of the suspension. This would have moved up and down while this moved up. We're good, real nice. Anyway, we're gonna take this hose out. I'm going to start down here at the bottom. I'm going to disconnect this, put my little catch pan underneath it. I'm gonna get the new one seated in, new one bolted up here. That way, when I disconnect it from up top, I don't have too much that drips out. You can pop the new one in, be good. Got to do is swap up here at the top. We got to disconnect up here. We're going to break that free with the line wrench, and maybe we'll scrape some of that off first, clean it up a touch. But there's also going to be a pin that we got to hit out this way that clamps all this stuff in and locks it in place right here on this tab. let's do that next. All right, we got the line wrench on here. We're gonna see if it breaks loose. There's a lot of dirt up here. I cleaned it off, but let's see. All right, that's good. It's moving. That's real exciting. If you don't know what a line wrench is, a line wrench is this guy. And see how it wraps almost all the way around? That really holds on so that you don't strip the bolt out. If you put a regular open-ended wrench, it can spread out if you put too much pressure on it, and that can strip these bolts out. Now once you get it loose enough, you can just hit it with your fingers. I'm not there yet, but you could use a regular wrench once it's broken loose. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna have brake fluid starting to come out. So what I'm gonna do is pause on this. I'm gonna get this clip out so that I can unseat the old one. And then once I get this bolt out, I can toss it into the replacement one. That's gonna be my best method here. Alright, so I got this threaded up top pretty good. Obviously not tightening it down yet. Now I gotta twist the actual new piece to fit in because it's got a hex head that needs to lock in up there. Alright, we're gonna dive in here. So we've got we got the new parts all clipped in. This is locked down, so I'm just going to come back here. I've got this attached to their little clip they gave you. I'm going to put this bolt in, make sure I got the two washers down here. I've only got one right now, but I'm going to put one on the outside, and then we will pop this caliper off and make sure that these bolts up here that slide have some lube in them so that this thing is releasing. Then we'll toss some fluid in, get some pressure, put the wheel on, and we're done. All right, so I went ahead and pulled these bolts out up here, and I was checking these bushings to make sure that they slide well. That one slides good. It doesn't seem to be locked up. You're not going to see the bottom one, but the bottom one moves the same as well. So that's nice and smooth moving. So I think we're good with the brake hose. I don't need to put lube on here. This thing does smell kind of burnt because it was locked up for a bit, but I think it should come back around. I'm going to check the brake pads since I've got this thing off, and then we'll button this thing back up. All right, quick little test drive around the block, see if it's hanging up. So it's always nice when you're doing these jobs to help a friend out when it does work out. The only challenge we really ran into was some lug nuts that were pretty seized on there, just due to the heat. When that metal gets so hot and baking that it's smoking due to a locked up caliper, that just that does a job on the wheel to lug nut things there. So we got those off. Again, thanks to Emerald Tire, a used tire shop down the street, for popping them off with your snap-on wrench. I gotta look up at the snap-on wrench and see how much torque that thing's got in the reverse side, because it's more than my my Harbor Freight one. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for hanging out with me today for a little bit, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Uh-oh, looks like my guy's got something else leaking. That looks like it's on the driver's side. Maybe buy the power steering. So we'll figure that out too.